make one last stand. Take that sign, put it down the end of the hallway. It'll help us stand them off.
What do you use to hold him back with?
Anything we can find. Still have the gun?
2 shots. Do I save it for the 2 of us?
Save them for the first 2 assholes who come through that vent. You're bound to have seen Wells come up out of the manhole.
What do I use on the rest of them that come climbing through?
Then you'll have to wing it.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another sweet episode. And today, we are going to talk a classic. But before we do that, we do have to correct something. We did Knock at the Cabin, which we talked about all the characters. We kept mentioning Abby throughout. So for you traditionalists who like to cross their T's and dot your I's, Abby was actually the actress who played the character. Abby Quinn is her name. We should have referred to her as Adrian. That's on me. And, we just like a little continuity. Believe it or not, we come off as unprofessional, but we try to be professional. But we just use the unprofessional logo to hide the fact that we're trying to... I think that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I totally... Yeah, it's basically... The professionalism is not an option thing. It's a joke. It's a gimmick. It's a tagline.
Yes, exactly.
But actually, we do try to be as professional as humanly possible.
Perfect. That's the way to describe it. All right. Anyways, let's jump into it. We're here to talk Assault on Precinct 13, directed by the man himself, the legend, John Carpenter. This is John Carpenter's second outing. He did a cult classic called Dark Star, which was a fun take on 2001 with his college buddies Nick Castle, who we all know who went on to direct and be Michael, and as well as Dan O'Bannon, creator of Alien. So it's kind of fun, this one, because this one is kind of where he met his team. When I say team, in particularly the assistant editor, who he would be date and would be a long-time collaborator with, and that's the late and incredibly underrated and talented Deborah Hill.
Yes.
This was released in 75, 76, something like that. Didn't get a following over here. It didn't get a following until it hit the U.S. market on VHS and word of mouth, but it was big in the UK and in Europe. And that is primarily because of a man who found it to be a wonderful film, and he felt it would find its audience, its niche, in the European UK market. And that distributor's name was no other than Michael Myers.
Whatever happened to that name?
Yes, it's the reason why we do have the name Michael Myers. John Carpenter wanted to pay a little homage and a thank you to the distributor by naming him after a serial killer. Yeah, that's kind of a nice little side story. But what Michael Myers said, that he felt it would do well because in the UK market they were really into their the US westerns, and this is what this does play like a western.
Absolutely.
And the reason the US mentality didn't get it was because they're so used to the western that they weren't catching it. And which I kind of get, but obviously now it has, and everyone loves Assault on Precinct 13. Now, I being a big fan of our boy John, we all know his go-to is Howard Hawks. This is pretty much a retelling of a classic called Rio Bravo, and we also already know that he's went on to direct another Howard Hawks film, The Thing from Another World, which became The Thing. So he's definitely... I guess you would say he's a Howard Hawks enthusiast.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Now, he did say a lot of people didn't catch that there's a George Romero feel to this film. It's shot, and especially with the gang, if you watch it again and again, I can see it. It plays a lot like The Night of the Living Dead.
Big time. And I don't want to sound like a smarters, but maybe
smart ass.
Yeah, maybe in my my earlier viewings of this film, I didn't really catch it, but certainly in recent years, I've watched this quite a few times over the years, but in recent years, I definitely, straight away it was like Night of the Living Dead. You know, it's basically instead of the farmhouse, it's a police station under siege by zombies. Although they're not really zombies, but they're you know, in Assault on Precinct 13, they're this street gang, but they're also very silent. Yeah, totally. There's a big influence there, and
Yeah.
he pulls it off.
And you got a black lead actor.
Yes, absolutely. Austin Stoker, who sadly just passed away there about last year. Yeah,
Most of these people have passed, sadly. Now this came. I'm a little disappointed it wasn't a big hit when it first came out. It's kind of weird because we're kind of glad it didn't, because we might not have Halloween.
yeah,
You know, if this catapulted it, he might have went on to do something different. But John Carpenter's came at that time where gritty grindhouse cop thrillers were kind of becoming the norm. You see a lot of Bullet and Dirty Harry and French Connection and Death Wish. All these grindhouse kind of films were coming out at the time. Walter Hill himself was being established. He'd go on to do The Warriors, which
Yes.
The Warriors plays a lot, you know, he's a little wink at this film as well. And even the score that, and I never caught this. I have all of Carpenter's stuff and I listen to it all the time. But the music,
brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
he stole it. And I know I
he?
listened
Right.
to it. He didn't steal it. That's wrong to say.
Yeah.
But he was influenced by the Dirty Harry soundtrack.
Right?
So if you listen to Dirty Harry, which I'm a fan of, it does.
I haven't seen Dirty Harry in years.
Yeah, we need to get to that one.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where Assault was going. A tribute to what was popular in the 70s. The great thing about the 70s, you had grindhouse, gritty crime drama. We call it gritty crime drama. Then you had grindhouse horror. So you got Last House on the Left, which introduced us to Wes Craven, Tobe Hooper, Texas Chainsaw, William Friedkin, The X. Well, I don't think The Exorcist would be. That was a major studio.
yeah.
But you get my point. Death Wish and
It was
Walter Hill.
such,
and,
yeah. The 1970s was such a golden era for cinema, both the big studio productions, but also these independent releases like Assault on Precinct 13, Death Wish, you know, Last House on the Left, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, it gave us, this era gave us so many names that went on to become so established and so respected, and basically, like, you know, the main men within the field, you know, like Carpenter, Craven, Hooper, all of these guys. I wouldn't class Michael Winner, you know, as one of them anywhere near their fucking level. But you know, the 70s. When I was younger, I used to think 80s was the golden age of cinema, but no. As I've grown older, I've realised it's, for me anyway, on a personal level, it's the 1970s.
yeah, I think it's a different. I mean, each decade has something different to offer.
Yeah.
And it obviously shows, and then, you know, there's always transitions. Same thing with music.
Well,
you know.
with my sort of former 1980s, so, and I still love the 80s, you know, and 80s stuff, you know, but I will admit as well that I was sort of, my thoughts on it were more sort of tainted with, you know, with rose tinted glasses, nostalgia, basically.
Let's jump into this one. And it's actually a simple film to talk about, guys. It's not going to be a long one because it's not much to talk about. But I've got some things I want to bring up, and we'll start with the cast. We got Ethan Napoleon Starker. He is played by the great Charles Cyphers, who plays Chief Brackett in the Halloween films. We got Wells, who plays one of the bad guy. Well, not bad guys, prisoners. Tony Burton. That's kind of fun because his claim to fame was Rocky.
Yeah.
He plays Rocky's trainer. He's in all of them. He sadly just passed himself.
Yes.
We got Nancy, we got Julie, played by, that's right, another Halloween person, and he played Annie Brackett. So we have a father and daughter team. Chief Brackett's daughter's in this too. And the horrible, God love her, she's never worked again. She admits it. The character of Lee, played by Laurie Zimmer, it was the worst acting I have seen in a film ever.
I mean, I don't think it's that bad.
Oh, it's horrible.
I think what the problem is the characters are irritating. The acting wasn't that bad.
No, it was horrible. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We got Lawson, and then I just wanted to do a massive shout out. Not massive, but it's kind of nice to see him. Frank Doubleday. Now, Frank Doubleday is the man who kills the girl. He's one of the gang members, one of the warlords. but he stole the movie, and I want to give him a shout out. He recently passed himself, and he played Romero in Escape from New York.
That's right.
He was the scene stealer in that, so I want to give him a little shout out. And he's the scene stealer in this when he's on it. He's a creepy guy.
Oh, you can't take your eyes off me. He's just a creepy sort of. He looks like a wee sort of runt, and yeah, he does steal the scenes that he's in.
So we got it's during a gang war. And I do love the opening sequence when you see this gang just running down this alleyway. And then these cops from above, which they've got they're going to kill them. They just blow them away, right, with shotguns.
That scene is not even so much Night of the Living Dead to me, but also the Romero connection. And I know this came out before it, but also Dawn of the Dead.
The beginning.
Yes, the beginning. It reminds me of the beginning of Dawn of the Dead. Now, Dawn of the Dead came after this, but you know what I'm saying? There are similarities there.
They borrow from each other. And I do like the fact that when the police gunned down these 6 gang members, right? Mm-hmm. And the news broadcaster says, and there was a shootout, and 6 gang members were killed. I'm like, what fucking shootout? The cops just blew them with shreds. I don't think they knew they were coming.
Technically, it was a shootout, but yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. But, yeah, so this is all happening during a gang war. And you have these guys called the Warlords. Mm-hmm. And they are trying to take over L.A. Now, it doesn't get this complex. That's just the backstory. We're here to talk about the basic story.
But they're also like this sort of nihilistic, almost like cult, where they make blood sacrifices and they believe just in complete chaos and massacre and all around them.
So when the gang leader, the Chicano, this is funny, guys. The names are the White Warlord, the Chicano Warlord, the Oriental Warlord, and the Black Warlord. So I'm not being racist. So
no, that's just what they're called.
I know, the Chicano Warlord. You're right. So when they lose their 6 men, he goes for the 6.
Yeah.
And they're cutting themselves for quite a long time. What are they cutting? 6 cuts?
Yeah, they're like a cult, basically. And it's blood sacrifice, saying that they're like blood brothers. And I think even one of the news reports says, that this is not. They're saying that most of these gangs would be, belong to the one race, but these are actually a multi-ethnic gang, and that they're like a cult, and that it's almost there's shades of horror there. It's not quite horror, but there's shades of like some sort of almost satanic cult. They're not like, but maybe they are. Just it's never stated, but. They're definitely give that cult vibe, especially with the blood sacrifice. Well, it's not blood sacrifice. It's like a blood pact.
There is I didn't get that, but I know they're doing some kind of for our brothers, which we'll get to because they do this. They kind of tag the police precinct. Let's talk about the police precinct. This is where we're introduced to Austin. Ethan, we'll call him Ethan, and he's heading to the precinct. Doing as it's being closed down. Now, did you hear the big controversy with the title?
Yeah, Precinct 9, Division 13.
Yes, Division 13, Precinct 9. So what happened was, I actually liked the original title. The working title was the Anderson Alamo, because it takes place in the city of Anderson County. And I kind of like that.
It's not bad, but I think Assault on Precinct 13 is a better title.
Yeah, it took, actually, Yablans, who produced Halloween, who came up with the name Halloween title, is the one who said change it to Assault on Precinct 13. It was called The Siege. They had some other titles, but it just didn't make any sense. But he actually says it just rolls off the tongue, and it's more menacing.
Yeah, the number 13, the connotation to number 13. But also there's another error, and one of the signs, it's actually Division 14. In the actual film itself.
I saw that. It's also isn't Division 14 on the building? Mm-hmm. It's on the building. No, it's Lee. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we're on the same page. I was like, did I write this down wrong?
Yeah. But that's all okay, because I totally love all that. That's just pure independent sort of movie
I'm
cinema.
Okay with that.
I love that.
I'm okay with it. It pisses me off when it's like a $90 million budget.
Yes.
But so we got Napoleon. and he's being transferred with 2 other guys. One guy gets sick. We don't care about him. He dies right away, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then he got Wells, and they're being transferred. Now he's on death row.
They're being shipped out. They're being bussed out to death row.
Yes, they're being shipped to death row, and they have to stop at the precinct because one guy gets sick. So that's not pretty much a whole intro. And Starker and him have some banter, and shooting the shit. I do like the fact the cops are cops. They're not. They might be some smart ass comments to the prisoners, but that's just the way it's just banter. No one's
They're
really
ordinary people.
Yeah, nobody's really a douchebag. It's not over the top police brutality or anything like that.
And also at the same time, they're not like they're not like wonder cops as well. They're just ordinary guys doing their job. It's not like they're Rambos either.
Yeah, exactly. And so when they do get the standoff, they're not prepared. They're kind of fucked. Now, so when they have to stop at the precinct and they get everyone out and everyone's like, I do like Napoleon. They try to make him like this badass, right? And some of the lines he gives, it's like Starker. As they're doing the transport, they're on the bus. He goes, Napoleon, you're clearly not a psychopath or stupid. Why did you kill those men? Which we never find out, by the way. He just makes the comment, first time I ever saw a preacher. He said to me, son, there's something strange out of you. You have something to do with death.
Yeah.
And being real young, I believed him. I'm like, what the fuck?
But here, I'd have to say, the sort of line deliveries are a bit sort of borderline wooden as well. But you know what? It totally works in the context of this film. I love fucking Napoleon. He's like, he's no Han Solo. The guy. Yeah, he's no Han Solo. Like this sort of, rough and ready sort of badass who becomes a good guy. But you know what? At 100, he's one of my favorite characters in films of all time. So yes, gotta smoke.
Really?
Yep. Well, at very least, one of the most memorable.
That's pushing it. That's really pushing it.
No,
but all right, to each their own.
Taken into context, yes, this is essentially a B-movie, independent film, and they were working with certain resources and stuff, or lack of resources, for want of a better word, or phrase. But no, I really like Napoleon. Now, Tony Burton.
That's right.
And so can Austin Stoker. And sort of the others are the supporting cast and stuff. And actually the father portrays very well whenever he first notices his daughter has been killed.
We'll get to that one, yeah.
No, I'm a Napoleon fan.
Yeah, if you're a Napoleon fan, I mean, then he has that other line where Starker brings up days, counting your days or something. Yeah. And then he goes, well, when you're a man in my position, days are like women. Each one is so goddamn precious. Yeah. They will always end up leaving you.
They always leave you, yeah.
Like, what?
I know. It's just, I could picture the character of Napoleon in some old, cheap Western, which is no surprise because this is based on a Western. I could picture him 100% as some old sort of cowboy in a Western, in a saloon, talking all this, what is basically shite, trying to be like wise and profound, and it just has oozes charm to me.
Yeah, I mean, he pulls it off. Again, it's not the acting; it's just some of the. I guarantee you, Carpenter, when he wrote this, he knew he was hamming it up. This is not intentional. It's intentional. It's not because he's a bad writer. Mm-hmm. Clearly, we know he isn't. Well, let's talk about the balls you've seen.
Yes.
With little Kim Richards. Kim Richards was a famous actress in the 70s. She was a Disney kid. She was. She's now one of the. Orange County, the Real Housewives.
Oh, but for fuck's sake.
Her sister, we've talked to quite a few times. Her sister is Kylie Richards from Halloween.
Right.
The little sister.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and who went on to do the other Halloweens, remember?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, Kylie Richards, that's her sister.
I didn't know that.
So, but let's talk about, I tell you what, I remember seeing it for the first time, and the Ice Cream Man, you didn't see it coming. You didn't think this was going to happen. And then when Doubleday or the White Warlord, just doesn't even look at her really. Just points the gun in her direction
Casually.
and shoots her.
Yeah.
Like it was nothing. It was nice. It was nice, well acted because he just does it. Like you did a perfect word. He does it very casually without even thinking. It goes to see the evil, and obviously, like you mentioned, the father is very good at going through these different emotions. He'll go through rage, which first upset, then he goes rage because he goes after him, and then we'll see he goes get pretty much catatonic.
Apparently, sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, you go for it. Do your thing.
I was going to say, but to connect it to this scene, apparently another reason that the film overall became so popular is Mel Gibson discussed it in an interview, and he particularly talked about this scene with the girl getting killed, and a lot of people who hadn't even heard of the film went out and sort of got their hands on it on the basis of Mel Gibson's interview about it.
Oh, whatever works. Word of mouth.
Yep.
So when there's a nice shot when he's going after them for killing his daughter, where the camera is placed on the headlight of the front of the car, but it's facing the back. It's facing the tail end, so you can see the father chasing him. It's kind of a cool camera to use, and you can see obviously the father's cars chasing them, and this is where I keep saying double day, but this is where obviously the White Warlord gets it because he shoots him. Which sucks because I would like to see more of an outcome for him because he's clearly the insane one of the group,
The main villain, basically.
the main villain exactly. So you killed him off right away. I think it would have been. I obviously for budgetary reasons or whatever reason you had to cut him out, but I would like to have seen more of a satisfactory, I guess you can say, ending.
He gets killed off in a bit of a sort of shit way as well. He just, you know what I mean? He like stands basically in front of your man's bullet. So he does.
Yeah, I mean, so when he does shoot him, there's a nice when he kind of comes to his senses. Like I say, he had all these different emotions, and when he finally shoots him, we realize what he's done, and he runs and he gets to a little phone booth. Remember those phone booths?
Yes.
And as he's going to make a call, you see from the distance one of his buddies, I think it's the Chicano warlord, coming after him with an M16, and this is where he runs into the precinct to get help. And this is where he kind of loses it.
Well, the scene with the girl, which has been criticised, is absolutely pivotal to the plot of this, so completely should be included. Because if it wasn't for the girl getting shot, we wouldn't have the rest of the film.
Yeah, why'd you say that?
Well, I know a lot of people have found it too shocking, the scene with the girl, and too much.
Well, yeah, but we've talked, but...
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're way past that, though.
I know. I was just sort of tracking back a bit, but because now the father's sort of reached the police station.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Do you want to talk about past podcasts too, or you want to just jump back? Just kidding. All right. Yes. Okay. Thanks for that drop-in. Anyways, so they start getting shot at. Now I like the silencers. I like the sound of silencers.
They're creepy.
So it's like 2 minutes of and everything's breaking up. And I do like the fact when the one cop goes out, Cheney, I think his name is, he goes out to see what's going on. This is before this has happened, sorry. And he goes out and he falls, and they all like, "Oh, look, Cheney fell." Ha, ha, ha.
He just fell over.
And then, it takes Ethan to go, they're using silencers. He's been shot. It was pretty funny. And then they start getting shot at. But I'll tell you what, nothing against the actress, or she's not really an actress, clearly. Her acting's so bad.
I genuinely don't think it's that bad, and I genuinely also think it's more to do with the characters irritating.
But how is the character irritating?
Because, well, she's selfish for a start. She wants to fuck the father out, saying, we'll just throw him out in the street. Sure, that's who they're after. Save herself.
That's Julie.
Oh, sorry,
that's
Julie.
Julie.
Yeah.
That's Julie who says that, who ends up getting shot.
Yes.
And dies.
You're right. Yes.
Wrong character.
Yes. Oh, no, sorry. No.
No. Lee doesn't say that.
Yes,
Lee's
but Lee's acting's fine. Well, I mean, it's not it's not, award-winning stuff but
Oh, it's bad.
it's solid enough.
No, it's not. You're saying solid. This acting is solid.
It's okay. All right,
Carpenter.
then.
Oh, now it's okay. Even Carpenter, I love him. Goes, gosh, no, she did great. That's bad. She did great.
But she's
again,
okay. I mean,
yeah,
she's not.
I
She
mean-
doesn't. It doesn't distract or take from the film. Honestly, I genuinely mean that.
Yeah, it's not. It's not Schindler's List we're watching here. So yeah, we'll give it a pass. But don't sit there and say this is good acting. Don't.
It's all right.
Oh my God! Now you've done. It's okay. It's all right. I'll get you down by the end of the podcast. You suck.
You won't. I mean, look, it's not like the greatest performance on film ever. But I'm sorry. By the way, apologies because I got the two female characters' names mixed up there.
Unprofessional. Unprofessional.
Yeah, well, I'm correct on it.
Unprofessional.
But the other character, she's quite irritating as a character. But I suppose they're both.
But but that's okay. That's her direction. Mm-hmm. That's Julie. That's who's been told. Yeah, she's got it right. Check the bastard out. They just want him.
Yeah.
Obviously, she gets her comeuppance, but that was what she was told to do, and that's in the writing. And she performs it just fine. Now I could be biased because she's in Halloween.
Yeah, I genuinely think that they're both okay. I mean, it's not.
Now you've completed.
It works for me in the context.
You went from she's an Oscar-nominated actress to
bullshit.
She's really good. She's my favorite actress
No, I
ever.
did not.
Then you went down to superb. Then you went down to okay, and now
superb. I never said superb. Don't lie. That's just a blatant lie. No, in the context of a B movie, it does the job.
So let's move on. Let me ask you this. So the 2-minute gun blades where they're just shooting at him, right? Mm-hmm. Now I watched this numerous times and I've seen it plenty of times. Are they just shooting the windows out so they can get in? Because my theory is I don't think they realize that there's not many people in this. That they think it's still a precinct. Yeah, it's closing down, but they don't know what they have as weapons. They don't know that there's only 2 people in there, whatever. Exactly. They don't know the head count. So when they're doing that 2-minute shooting, are they just trying to shoot out the window so it's easier for them to get in?
Well, I don't even think it's that elaborate. I think they're just shooting at them.
Okay.
Maybe they are. Well, they are. Maybe that is part of it. Yeah. But you're right in that they don't know how many people are in the police station.
Yeah, and that's why I want people to know. That's why they can't rush it.
Yes.
Because they don't know what weapons are behind that door. They don't know what they have. And
yes.
They can't come in from the back because they clearly explain and just let the audience know there's a big wall in the back with a big barbed wire.
Yeah, but also as well, I going back to the cult thing. I really liked when they put like the death curse on them. With the walk up to the police station with the painted blood flag type thing.
Yeah, that happens after the shootout.
Yes,
they mark them, and it's called the Chicana,
something like that.
I think that's what Wells was saying.
Yeah,
it's where you mark them. It's kind of a voodoo thing.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to the sort of shades of horror and death cult type thing.
I wish they would show what the flag looked like. Didn't really see it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But, they're marked. They're not. So, yeah, during the first initial assault, they killed the guy who had the cold. Like he meant anything anyway. At least he won't get the cold now.
Yeah,
that's what they're making.
They cured him of it anyway,
And our boy Starker and the other cop gets it. And the prisoner gets it because they were at the bus. And they got shot at. And then you just eliminated 3 more characters. So there goes Chief Brackett. Chief Brackett gets it. So you get this, process of elimination. But again, head count still unknown. Mm-hmm. I like the scene where you got this little parking lot in front of the precinct. You got the main street, then you got the parking lot across from the precinct.
Yeah.
And they take the cars and they probably put them in neutral. And they start rolling them toward the precinct, and they're hiding behind the cars as shields, so they.
I really like that as well.
It's clever for you have, and and Carpenter, and that's why I think Carpenter should have always stuck maybe more independent in some ways, because a lot of independent filmmakers do better when they're limited to what they can do, funds wise. So
Well, they become more
adapt.
resourceful and more creative.
Yeah, causing them to adapt and create stuff like this. We talk about Ty West a lot, who will only go independent, and so it's nice seeing that. Don't get me wrong, when Carpenter goes big go blockbuster, I'm cool with it. I love his stuff, but I like more grounded Carpenter.
Same here.
So, and it shows in these little things that he does, and when they're trying to break in the window scene. That's fucking hilarious. How many people they killed? When Napoleon breaks the arm.
Yeah.
When they come in, they're trying to go in the holding cells, and this is where they have to decide. This is actually a nice scene. I jumped ahead there. When they're going to break in, and they have to go down to save the prisoners, and Napoleon takes a couple out, and yada yada yada, and you have Ethan who runs up, and he runs up with them, Napoleon, and Napoleon's hold the door. So they can't get in, and he goes, "I can't hold the door this long. You need to give me a gun."
Yeah.
And at the same time, he's trying to break this lock to get the guns out of the locker.
Yeah,
and
the case thing.
It's cool because it's perfect time. As they're about to break through, he lifts up the case, throws him the shotgun, and he just fucking pummels them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's genuinely exciting, these scenes. And
It
it's
is.
been built up. Now, this has been built up, over, everything else that's happened before. It's perfectly paced.
Yeah, it's an hour and a half, and it's perfect. And then you have the 2 minutes when they're breaking on the windows and kind of taunting them. Then they're trying to go in from the bottom to get to the from to the cells. Then you've got the scene where they're coming through the windows, and that's where they just start. And it's bloodless for the most part, and you just see them going, "Ah!"
This is a zombie.
Flying
Yeah.
back.
I mean, it's it's obviously all extras, overacting and stuff,
Carpenter was a couple of them.
Yeah. But it totally works. It's low budget independent cinema, as I've said, and it's I love this type of shit.
So it's 5 minutes of them just shooting, and what I liked about it when all the chaos is done and they finally get to relax, the music stops. And it's done. So it's like, but it's not like, oh, thank God it's done. It's almost an eerie calm.
Yeah.
It's almost like what's going to happen next. Rather than let's take a break and relax. No, it's what are we waiting for now?
Tense.
It's a nice way. It's nice going, panning off to the next scene, still putting the audience in that dread zone.
Yeah.
Julie's dead. She just dies. She's dead.
dies
She's
off
lying on the
camera.
floor. Yeah. And then you hear these. He finds that canister. What is it? Acetylene?
Oh, it's
I think it's just oxygen.
explosive. I just, you know what I mean?
He calls it
shit.
acetylene.
Yeah, it can blow shit up, basically. That's all that matters to me.
Yeah,
And the
he
plot.
says. Yeah. If a bullet hits this, boom.
Yeah, so I just my impression it was some sort of gas or whatever. I'm not too sure of the actual technicalities of the chemicals within it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
I wasn't thinking that much about it.
No.
It blew shit up, and that's cool by me.
I'm sure Carpenter said, "What stuff that blows up that goes in tanks? Acetylene,
Yeah.
perfect."
But yeah, do the job.
And so after the shootout, they're looking out the window, and all the cars are back in place. And they kind of figure out that the gang's quite smart. What they're doing is that after the massive loud gunfire and glass breaking and everything, they're still in the neighborhood further out, but people could still technically hear them. They put everything back as if nothing happened. So if anyone drives by, it looks like it's calm.
Exactly. For the police, and whenever we do see the other two cops driving by,
Oh, those useless dipshits that
yeah, they are useless. But not only that, they've also been tricked by the gang and thinking that everything's okay here.
There's a funny moment where Wells, Ethan goes, "How many bullets you have left?" And Lee goes, I got 2." And Napoleon goes, "I got 3 shots left." And Ethan goes, "I got 3." So that gives whatever. And Wells the whole time had an empty gun.
That's right. That's right.
He was shooting because he couldn't tell because there was a silencer on it.
That's right.
He's like,
useless.
well, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But he's the one who comes up that it's the Chicos or the whatever the cult's name is.
Yeah, the death cult gang thing.
He says we're going to be doomed.
Yeah, because he said he was doing time with one of these crazy young fuckers or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like the scene where Wells and Napoleon decide one of us has got to sneak out and go start the car and get out of here. It's in the back of the precinct. And Wells doesn't want to go, but neither does Napoleon, in all fairness. But instead of like heads or tails, I always lean to a coin toss.
Potatoes?
Let's play potatoes.
Yeah. Oh, potato.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is this? And it's funny because it's refreshing because you do have this dark tone film and he peppers in a little banter, not over the top banter, but just enough to let these guys know that they're quite likable. They're not the pigs you think they would be, and they're human. You know, they're
actually the main prison warder was actually much worse than them.
Yeah, the one who tripped him up and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
and the one what do you call him who was on the bus with them who gets shot whenever the gang first come along. What do you call him? Stalker? Stalker, yeah.
Didn't do anything wrong.
But he was a bit of a dick
right.
whenever he's down talking to Napoleon, and he's saying to Napoleon, he goes, "I can't wait to see you fry. I'll be there," or words to that effect.
No, but he does make the comment, "You're not a psychopath. You're a smart guy. What are you? You're not stupid." So he wasn't.
Well, he wasn't that
at the same
bad.
time,
He
he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but considering how most cops are portrayed in these kind of films,
Yes.
compared
to
it was all right.
Ethan, you know what I mean? He was a bit of an asshole.
They tried to make some Lee moments. Who's your favorite actress of all time? You told everybody. Lee keeps just looking at Julie's body.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work. Just move on. Lee, you can act.
Well, she
never...
The romantic tension between her and Napoleon is a bit contrived as well.
You think it's fucking Romeo and Juliet because you think you just called her the next Meryl Streep.
But you know what? See, within the context of this film, I accept it. And that includes the sort of, the romantic tension between her and Napoleon.
That was so bad. When they glare at each other and they look, it's like, is she mad at everybody? She never smiles at all. This woman.
Yeah.
Oh my!
You're pretty good out there.
So when they see Wells and he's trying to escape to get to the car, they're like, "Oh look, there's nobody coming. He looks pretty good." Mm-hmm. Yeah, he looks pretty good. And they look out the window. Oh shit! Here they come.
Yeah, it's
it reminded me of the line in The Fog, where. There's no fog bank out there.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, the idiots, there's no fog bank out there. And they look, she goes, hey, wait a minute. There's a fog bank out there.
Yeah. But I enjoyed Wells getting it. That's a very effective scene.
Yeah, it is nice when he gets shot and his head goes to the thing and...
Well, not even the fact that it's quite a shock when you first see it. That there's he thinks he's getting away and stuff, but there's actually one of them in the back of the car.
Yeah, and Napoleon makes a joke. Mm-hmm. I can't remember what it was, but wasn't good. Who are are these warlords? Are they ninjas? Because they're pretty good.
well, they're for being so young and being sort of essentially, on the streets type thing. They're very clever.
Oh, and then Napoleon has a powerful statement. Jesus Christ, him and his statements. Mm-hmm. He's after Wells gets it, he goes, too bad, Wells, you'll never get to see the border.
That's but see shit like that. That just oozes charm. You know what I mean? These sort of corny B-movie lines. You know what I mean?
God. Yeah, they're very John Wayne-esque lines.
Yeah, absolutely.
John Wayne would have had lines like this in Stagecoach and all that stuff.
Yeah. I 100% intentional, and it's a deadpan delivery by Napoleon as well. I guess he'll never see the border now. It's And that whole speech that we were talking about earlier, you know what I mean, about the preacher telling them there's something strange about you, you know what I mean, you're connected to death. You know, it's just,
I know.
that's, you know, real people don't talk like that. You know what I mean?
I know.
But it 100% works here.
If you know, you have to do it because because it gives the movie a little charm.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you need that
time.
in this, especially when you just got done killing a kid.
Yeah.
You need to let pepper in and wink at the audience.
Mm-hmm.
So, but these two dipshit cops, so they're driving around, and I think it's so corny, but it's still, you're right, it just, you go with it, it works. When they're like, oh my God, it's starting to rain. And they're like, wait a minute, that's not rain. It's blood. And they just happen to park where the phone repairman's hung
The
from the telephone pole being shot.
Yeah. But he died while he was still up on the fucking lamppost.
They must have shot him. So that's why the phone lines were down.
Yeah.
So, and then all the cops
rain,
are
that's
coming.
blood.
I know, I was like, oh my God. It's like one of those urban legends.
Yeah.
So they take this big, I do like the ending. I like the idea where they pick this big sign to protect themselves.
Yep.
It's and they're going to obviously blow the canister that we talked about. And so they do. It's actually pretty cool. It's pretty brutal. They do get in a pretty good fight. I like to see a little more injuries on these guys' part, like a broken finger or something, because they come out of this pretty unhurt. I mean, even the girl Lee, your favorite actress of all time.
Yep.
She ended up getting shot at least. Yeah. I mean, these guys are looking pretty good. So when they finally blow, I do like the fact when they didn't really realize the plan when they were throwing Molotov cocktails.
Yes.
To get in, and the whole thing's all smoked, and they can't see anything, which is kind of a fun little obstacle. And so, obviously, he blows the container, everyone gets it, but they survive. Mm-hmm. And I love when the cops come down, and you see all this fog bank and smoke, and then when the smoke clears, there's just them sitting there, standing there.
And then they're going to basically take Napoleon away, but Bishop, Ethan says, get your hands off him, or words to that effect. Let him walk out on his own type thing. And that was a good wee,
it'll be a privilege.
It's a very
it'll be a privilege to walk out with you.
Yeah, that's a really
privilege.
Nice moment. And it's much better than any sort of corniness or whatever. You know what I mean? It's actually a very emotional moment. I mean, it wasn't crying or anything, you know what I mean?
You were crying. You're crying.
But it's a tender moment, yeah. Good stuff, brilliant stuff. In fact,
I like the moment where Napoleon, her, and Lee, your favorite actress of all time,
fuck up.
They glance at each other,
and
then okay, see ya. That's over.
Fucking deal with you, Napoleon.
That's because they know their love can never happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, star-crossed lovers, but tormented by never being able to get together.
But yeah, that's kind of the arc, I think, because at the end of the day, Napoleon was being thrown around, handcuffed, blah, blah. Again, we don't know what he's done. They don't really explain it. But you don't
that's
need
best
to.
to leave it like that.
Yeah, I suppose. And at the end of the day, he did help them out. He did run away on them. He did protect them. So Ethan was right to let him walk out.
I love stories where, opposite sides or people who shouldn't be friends have to put their differences to the side and band together for the greater cause. So, this is a classic example of that.
Yeah, I mean, this film has been so influential. There's a remake which is quite solid. Nothing's going to be as good. It's not going to be as good as the original, but we might tackle that one. Yeah. They do a real nice job keeping the source material there. Yeah, they keep the source material there, but they tweak it quite a bit. So they make it their own, and it's nice. It'd be nice to talk about the comparisons.
I will check
Might get to it someday.
I would say as well, going back to the score, it is one of my all-time favorite film scores.
Yeah, it's Carpenter.
Yeah, especially the main theme.
Brilliant. It's very simple.
Yep.
It's amazing. Simple music. And same thing with the Jaws theme and the Psycho theme.
100%.
You know?
Yep. Keep it simple.
All All right, guys. I don't think we have to really finish our final thoughts. This to me is Carpenter classic. It's not one of my. It's not. Would it be in his top? It'd be up there. It would be up there for sure. But
A pure classic.
either way, it gave us the next film, Halloween. So,
Yeah.
what more do you need?
The rest is history.
Exactly. It's got some nice editing. It's got some nice quick cuts. It's got, it's got the hokiness in the right places to let people know this is only a film.
Well balanced.
It's well balanced. It's an hour and a half. It flies by. The acting was fair. It was all right. Besides
So now you
Lee,
think
your
she's
favorite
the best
actress of
actress
all
in the
time.
world? Yeah,
No,
right.
you said you called
I'd
her Meryl
defend her.
Streep.
I'd happily defend her. She's not that bad.
Okay, of course you would, because she's the
Yep.
greatest actress of all time. That's what you just said. You just said it again. All right, guys. The new issue of Phantasmagoria has just been released. It's available locally here at Forbidden Planet, and of course all over the world on Amazon.
Yep.
And I'm featured in it, so if you want, you
Worth
get
bad
closer
for that
to me
alone.
and see the written word of Ciaran.
Yeah.
I think
The
that's a
written
gift
wisdom
that keeps on
of
giving.
Ciaran. Yeah.
You're the one who said wisdom.
Yeah. Jedi Master.
But again, you are the one.
Jedi Master
You are the one who
Vader.
thought Lee was great. You thought Lee was the greatest. Well, probably.
Maybe.
You can always. You
Maybe.
can always reach out to us at Ciaran. Oh, can I finish this ending, please? So I can
Go
just end
ahead.
This?
Go ahead.
Thank you. We're available. You can talk to us if you want. Nobody does. Citizen Frame _podcast, and of course on Facebook. Next one up is gonna be a fun one, Tango and Cash. So check it out, and then we tackle Scream. That's it. We're wrapping this one up. Have a good one.